you can't build a 30 square metre deck in half a day.
No.
Or for 1,000.
Surely we've all done that.
Oh yeah,
Massively underpriced, and also YouTube.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing. Going, wow, we are.
I mean, that is unequivocally where you start, isn't it?
Oh, totally.
Hello everyone and welcome to our podcast. What's the best sort of client that you like to work for that's going to help you make a good job?
Well, I guess it's a client that has. Good question. I guess it's a client I like to work with is somebody who understands that their landscaping isn't what they know. They don't know their landscaping, so it's trusting in the landscapes and know what he's talking about, to understand that he's using his experience. Yeah, we're using our experience to guide as much as we can. We want to work with their budget, with the parameters of what they're asking us to do. So being just a little bit understanding if things can't, we can't place that pergola exactly in the middle there because it will block the view of so and so in the distance. And it's it's just basically just someone being understanding that these guys are coming from a place of experience.
Do you prefer it if they know what they want, or if you're the one there guiding them?
Well, it's interesting. It's a good question, because you kind of find yourself in a bit of tricky situations where sometimes it's lovely to know. I mean, we worked for a quantity surveyor there last year, and it was nice to work along somebody who knew about the material, knew what he was up to, and I guess it was kind of there was a challenge to it, because it was kind of the same background, but there's benefits to that, and then on the other side, when somebody who thinks they know, it's worse, and you think and you kind of have to.
Well, I'll have to say that you're always going to get a good client if they're a quantity surveyor, but that's just me saying.
Cough, hint, eh?
How do you find your team, Bill?
Very good.
Because they've been with you for some time, haven't they?
Yes, they've been with me for a while. Well, actually, James, who works for me, he started in February, I think. And he's just like going through the motions of doing all of his tickets. So he's done like the chainsaw ground maintenance one, and then a climbing and rescue, and now he's just got to do the saw one. But we all work very well as a team, and like Tom, who's been with me for the longest, he's incredible at organising a team and knowing the most efficient way to do things. And to be honest, I've learned plenty from him as well in how a job should be structured, which is good. So it's taking advice from people that you work with as well, and not just thinking you know everything. I think if you can learn stuff from the people that work for you, it's also a really beneficial thing.
What can you do and what can't you do if it starts to chuck it down with rain?
Well, I mean, what you can do and what you can't do. I mean, trying to lay slabs in a real heavy downpour is very, very difficult, and it shouldn't be done in a heavy downpour. Once some slabs have been laid, and they've been down for a good few hours curing, especially with that SBR, in the warmer weather, you'd be a little bit better. But it does. You are thinking ahead, thinking, can I lay that much today? Due to the fact, it's going to rain. What's it going to do to the work? So what we try and do is, I guess, use Mother Nature. So like today, we know it's going to rain there tomorrow, and it's quite a heavy downpour. For you tree surgeons out there, what we've done, we've tidied everything up, got everything clean, so the driveway's clear, the job's clear, and so everything gets cleaned and washed away. We've already cleaned it today, but everything gets washed down by the heavy downpour. So
what is the value of a designer? And to me, that's what the value of a designer is. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's coming at a garden holistically.
Yeah.
It's looking at, as I sort of alluded to earlier, looking at how you can create character, atmosphere, using a combination of hardscape elements, which generally are the sort of practical areas, aren't they? They're where you sit or where you relax, and how you get from A to B with planting. And it's how those come together, how you create the right balance between mass and void in a space. And there are certain techniques to create a space that feels comfortable and is a space you maybe want to explore.
Yes.
So I think that's where the value is.
Yes.
And, you know, I think people are, you know, time's precious, isn't it? And I think, you know, for people who have an appreciation of, you know, design, they want their space to look nice,
Yes.
but not, you know, don't necessarily have the time to sort of spend thinking and doing.
Yes. Who uses social media marketing and how?
I am not sure if it comes under social media. We do Google Ads, but if you're looking at, you know, social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and there's other ones as well. I'm not sure what they are. I have limited experience with using them. We'll put posts up on Instagram and Facebook, but not as necessarily like a lead generating thing. They're not boosted or they haven't had money spent on them. They are just like more like a portfolio of what we do, and just letting people know that already follow us, i.e. previous customers, family, friends, or people that are just interested in seeing what we do.
Well, I remember I've still got my first drill set I bought, and it's a 2011 plate, and I bought it.
That's heavy.
I bought it. Yeah, right. Actually, I borrowed another friend of mine's Makita, his Impact, and I tell you what, he has a new Impact, and it sang against mine, and I was so upset. You know, I was so upset. But I've had them for so long because, you know, if you look after kit, it lasts. You know, like 2011, I've had my combi drill and my Impact. You know, and I always say to people, buy things in boxes. These people, the people buy stuff, buy drills and something. They have them in bags. If you're a landscaper and you haven't got your tools in a box, go buy one. You know, because and that is something actually. Talking about kit, you know, DeWalt, they do, you know, some pretty good toolboxes, which is quite handy because I've got a Makita skill saw that will cut circular saw. Makita circular saw that will cut through 100mm sleepers, so it's handy because, you know, you're not having to use a chop saw. You're not having that danger of trying to have up onto the chop saw. You know, you've got the freedom of being able to have your chop saw on the pile of oak sleepers, and you can then rip through them. But, you know, it didn't come in a box. And the box that I did ask, you know, I said, "Did it come in a box?" It's not as tough as the DeWalt one. So I've actually. This might go mad. Some people might go mad. I've actually got a Makita circular saw in it to one of the DeWalt boxes, like the nail gun boxes, the second and first fit nail gun boxes, because they are handy. Keep them all in boxes, you know, and you know all the stuff stays in there. So when you need it, you just pick up that one box, everything's in it, stays clean and dry. You know, the tools do last when you look after them, especially good quality ones.
What did you struggle with, Bill?
I think your responsibilities change completely. You're no longer just responsible of yourself and what you do at work. You're responsible for other people and running a project. That's just on the job side of things. Then you've got everything else, like you said, finances. And I think one thing I found quite stressful is, you know, making decisions and taking risks. Because I think to be a good business person, you have to be willing to take risks, but you've got no one else to help you make that decision. And that risk, you know, the risk of that decision you make could either sink you or make you fly. But you have to, you know, you start to realise you can't dither anymore. You're like, I need to make this decision because of X, Y, and Z, and it's how you plan out that decision and weigh up the risks. And at the start, that can put you in a real stupor. That can make you really stressed. And I think that's, you know, I struggle with that.
Especially as you're wholly responsible for that decision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you let's say you're thinking, okay, fine, I need this tool. For example, let's say a van. It's going to get me this much more money, but you're looking at it thinking, okay, it's £500 a month in finance. I currently, you know, that I'm going to struggle with that if I stay the same.
I don't get paid that.
Yeah, so it's looking at that, thinking, you know, where does it fit in? But you're never going to get anywhere unless you take that risk. And it's how can you make that risk smaller? It's all those things, and that you know, you can. Yeah, it's a stress that you wouldn't have had before.
What are the big things that are going to
The lack of
affect
time
them?
for yourselves, I think.
I think
Because you've got that responsibility of another person. You can't just go out and whenever you want to. You can't just go to sleep or bed whenever you want to. And I think sleep deprivation comes into it quite a bit, doesn't it?
Sleep deprivation is huge. And also, I have heard couples say that they so used to getting in from work and maybe having half an hour on the laptop or doing bits and bobs that all goes to start with. So that your life's not really revolved around anything you do. That gets fitted into the needs of.
There's sort of no routine, and you've got to allow that. You've got to go with the chaos a bit because you can't have it so all in order like it normally is, your life.
Which sounds very frightening.
Yeah, and it can be to start with, particularly if your lives are all in control. Yeah. So if your work is very much in control and you've got a team and you know exactly what you're doing and you've got tasks to do, it's the same from both sides. But when you have a family, it's different. You've got to go with the flow a little bit and let things slide a little bit. But for a lot of people, they find that quite difficult. And it is an adjustment.
I think that's an increasing thing I find in younger people, especially young women. They're very much in used to being in control. So when you have a baby, that really takes that control away from you, and then that can make you feel quite anxious. So because you can't set times that your baby's going to wake or those sorts of things. So it can be quite an anxious time. For women.
So how do you find, as like a sole business owner, how do you find doing the work and running the business? Do you enjoy running the business side?
Yes, I do enjoy running the business side, but I mean I'm more of a hands-on person, so I love being out and on the tools and and visiting all my clients on my different rounds during the week. So I think it's nice. I mean the admin side of things I'm a bit sort of try and put it off for as long as possible, but yeah, and the socials as well. I try and like you'll see, like sometimes I'll bombard the socials, and then other weeks I just ghost because I'm just so busy. I forget to do it. But I mean, as far as running the business goes, yeah, I mean I enjoy it, and and sort of like the sort of the initial conversations with people saying and them trying to sort of suss you out and you kind of trying to suss them out as to what kind of gardener they want, whether they do want sort of a mow and go gardener or whether they want someone that's going to come in and sort of like point a few things out and
have you got any sort of plans and objectives for the year? If you're from this time in a year's time looking back, where would you want to be? I suppose in terms of your businesses, the type of clients that you're working for, the size of jobs, whether you're investing in any new plant and materials. Generally, what are your sort of objectives? What do you want to achieve?
I think this year for myself is we've got another team coming on in the next couple of weeks, and I think making sure all our quotes are streamlined so we can get them in once the quote comes in, get it back to the client as soon as possible, so we can get that work booked up in front of us, and having that second team out, and then hopefully by the end of the year. Once we get into when we get into our busy season, having a look at another team as well, and getting myself off the tools a bit more, and having a look at a few projects, a bit more being the face of the company rather than the lad on the trowel. So it's not going to be easy. I do like the trowel, but I think that's what's happening this year.
I think that's one of the hardest things, though, isn't it? Actually, making that movement from being someone who's working on the projects to actually being someone who's, the face of the company, going out, working on the business. Initially, I trained as a quantity surveyor, so I remember I worked at a practice in Tunbridge, Baker Mallet, wonderful company, really, really nice company. I had a great laugh there working there, and I got chartered as a chartered quantity surveyor. And then I wanted to get into the sexy part of quantity surveying, was precisely. This is as sexy as it gets. It was claims and dispute work. Ooh. So I wanted to get into claims and disputes because that's where there was more money in it, and it was also there was a lot more kudos in that type of work. Trying to get expert witness work, and I worked for a practice up in London. I'll not mention any names. So it was good fun. They were nice practice, big company. And while I was there, I became a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. I started doing my masters at King's College in construction law and arbitration. I was done a postgraduate course in construction law and arbitration, and did a lot of claims work. So I was working on things like, did a load of labour disruption claims. First one was like the MOD building down in Bristol on the curtain walling project. I worked on the new parliamentary building up in London. Loads of labour disruption claims on the Jubilee line extension. It was just like loads of claims work. And then when I was doing my MSc, I was working with a chap there. I was doing it with him, a chap called Mick Mulvey. Give him a good call out. He's a brilliant bloke. And we both sat there and we were thinking, oh, well, we could set our own company up, couldn't we? Because the company I worked for, they took everyone essentially on as self-employed consultants. So that was good because it started to make you understand how to do an invoice, how to become VAT registered, how to do your timesheets and all that type of stuff. And so we thought we could set up our own company. How do you find things, Bill, when you actually started? What was the biggest challenge for you that you think is worth passing on to someone who wants to start up a tree surgery business?
I would say there's lots of things I would do differently. I probably would have saved up a bit more money first.
But is that right? I mean, or would that have actually just slowed down your momentum in getting started? Because
I think it's massively helpful. I mean, to be fair, at the time, I was living in my parents' house. I was paying like barely any rent or anything, and then I was using like the shed in the garden just to store stuff. But I think it's always helpful if you can get a bit of money behind you, and also, as far as possible, learn off other people before you start. Because I barely did any tree work before I started my company. Like originally, it was like gardening as well, and sort of like moved into tree work, and so like a lot of the time I was just learning on my own time, which is at the detriment of profit as well. So,
and when you say learning, you're just talking purely about the technical side of doing the tree work.
Everything,
as opposed to business.
No, I mean all of it.
Yeah,
I mean running a business, and doing the actual tree work itself. But yeah, if you can get really good, at the thing you're running your business in the first place, and you're just going to be one up, aren't you, from the off? So I would say learn off someone else first. Get some money behind you, and then try and keep finances down. I know a few people have started companies where they've everything's financed out, and then you're at the start. There's always going to be gaps in workload. I mean, there even is now. It's nowhere near as like it was at the start, but if you're trying to get together, let's say $5,000 a month every month just for the finance on your vehicles and your chip or whatever. Then you can very quickly get into a bit of bother, especially if you haven't got any money behind you as well. So
yeah.
So if you got big down payments, small monthly, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I always thought keep your overheads down as low as possible, so that ideally you're making as much profit each month as possible. What insurance do you actually need?
Yeah, so the only legal requirement you have is for employer's liability.
Right.
And that's in case either you or one of your employees get sick or injured at work. A lot of those will include your personal accident as well, so include injury to you. And the most important thing about that is that even if it's casual staff, then you're still required to have them insured. And even if they have their own insurance, then you are also required to carry a employer's liability for them.
So what exactly is employer's liability covering? So that's going to be everything for your, as an employer?
Yeah, anyone that you employ.
Yeah.
And whether they are casual work, so they could just be people that you get in every now and then to help out the day's labouring. They could be people that are self-employed, like professionals, but they're working for you and they might carry their own insurance. You must still have insurance for them.
You've still got to cover them for them.
I think the only exceptions in law are people that are direct family members who are working for you.
Right.
So like an immediate relative.
What is your mindset? What is your current mindset, Bill?
I would say my mindset towards work, specifically, that's what we're talking, has changed a lot recently due to various things. One of them was the fact that I've been very lucky in the chance to go away for a while and reevaluate things, and that has a massive.
That's not prison, right? That was
no. Yeah, that sounded like I went to prison.
Do you some good, to be honest.
I went travelling, and I got away from my business for a little while, which is what I needed. I needed a break, because I would say before that time my mindset wasn't great. I was procrastinating a lot. Things weren't getting done. I didn't see so much an end goal or like a target of where I wanted to be in a certain amount of time. I'd sort of had a series of difficult things, and it made me think, oh, well, what's the point? Speaking frankly,
rightly so. Yeah.
But I had, very lucky in the chance that I had a very good team, and I was able to continue the business while I was away, and I was able to see a lot of the, a bit more of the world that I had done before, which really refreshed me, and I had time to not be working every day and actually just reevaluate, what I wanted to do with my business and where I could see it going. Whereas before, it was kind of just like, oh god, this is problem after problem. When actually, that's not the case. When you reevaluate it and you step aside, you actually realise, look, there's loads of potential here. I'm very fortunate position where I've worked hard and the business hasn't crumbled. And a lot of businesses crumble after a few years. We know that. And when you actually step back and look and you think, actually, I've built a really good thing here, and it has the potential to grow, it changes your mindset completely. Because
go on.
I just think if you have that mindset, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, fixed mindset and a growth mindset, it's easy to fall into this fixed mindset where, oh, this is tough, this is shit, nothing ever goes right, people never pay me, I'm not getting where I want to be, when actually that can all be changed by implementing certain changes. And if you actually evaluate your business and go, this is what I need to do to get to this goal, and this is the mindset I need for that, then you can go, okay, this isn't me being miserable all the time and not getting things done. That's not me. That's just the current mindset I'm in. And it's important to step back and go, this is what I need to do to change that. And then when you start seeing change, I think your mindset changes as well. If you start seeing change in your business, your mindset follows as well. And all it is hard work. Is that the question you originally asked me? I don't know. I
think bang on there. Yeah, go to the job, price the job, get the job, do it. And so once it gets to that stage that you're not just in the one van or the little van, things change. So no, at the beginning of this, I didn't have much of an idea of what I should be doing. I got what I needed to get done because things got paid, and that's the way it was. And I was never a fan of borrowing money because I've always gone off that if we don't have it, we don't get it. And even if we were to borrow money for something, I would always like to think we have it in our account and then make an executive decision. Do we buy it? We do have the money to buy it outright. Is it better to buy it, on finance? But I always like to think we have it on us, beforehand. But it's once you
just financed a truck there, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
What made you change your mind about finance?
Oh, I guess it was communicating with JB about what we should do. The money that we had in our company was the money we've worked very hard to get. Now we're buying a new vehicle. We could buy the vehicle. It was an older vehicle, it's not a new vehicle. It's second hand. We did have the money to buy it outright, but we made a decision not to because there was finance options on. And
to have the cash flow sitting there, to have the cash sitting there is better.
That's it. Yeah. So I mean, but I wouldn't have that conversation before. If I had the money, it was going on it.
And how did it then transition into corkers and get Ryan excited with these slabs and all that stuff?
So I would say at the Hot Farm site, we then started to do slabs when we was on that site.
Okay.
So we started to do more than aggregates. And on that site, we had a tiny little display area which would have some I think we had 20 selections of stone.
Wow.
Yeah, and people would come there on a Saturday and go, oh, this is amazing. we just sort of look at each other and think, really? It's a
I was gonna
tiny
say,
little show
cutting
area.
across you there, stupid question, but whose idea was it to start doing slabs and other things apart from
That would have been my dad's.
That would have been your dad.
My
He sort of
dad, yeah.
thought- Was that someone coming up to him and saying, "Do you do slabs?"
Can you get something like that?
And, you know, and we was heading in that traditional
Yeah.
builders merchants route of like, you know, what else can we sort of
Yeah.
sell and, you know, add to our product line, you know, continue to make the business grow and become profitable, etc. So he was always looking at unique products and what we could sell to stand out, you know,
Yeah.
to Travis Perkins and all the other guys out
Yeah.
there. So yeah, we done that. We was there for I think 5 or 6 years, and I think that's where the concept for Corker really sparked. Was when people would come down and say, "Oh, I didn't know you'd done this item," or "I didn't know you'd done that," or "This is a great show area." So when we moved to that yard where we are now, it was a case of, you know, continuing to do what we've done and trying to compete with Travis Parkers and all them, you know, big guys that you'll struggle to compete with.
Of course.
Or we do something completely different. So it was at that point when me and Harry and my dad suggested that we should change the name. And so we was coming up with all sorts of names, Scape, all sorts, mate. So we wasn't actually the ones that come out of Corker.
Really?
It was Tim Sykes, George's
Yeah,
dad. Tim
was it
Sykes
really?
From Garden Proud, yeah.
Yes.
So we knew he was in advertisement before, and we said to him, "We can't come up with a name. We're not agreeing on a name. Can you come up with a list of 10 names and come back to us?" And he came back to us with a list, and he had Terra Firma on there. He had all these different names, and one of them was Corker.
I was going to ask you, once you finished the course, was it the goal then to open a business, or did you just do the course just for the enjoyment of it, or was it with a view to actually starting your own
I
business?
think probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did think if I could move So what was happening with clients is you go along and you garden for them at whatever quid an hour, and they'd say, "Oh, Dad, we've got a bed down there. What should we do with it? And if we were having a new terrace done, how could we do?" So you end up giving sort of design advice for diddly squat per hour.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, if I get qualified and set up a business, I could just do the advising and maybe, I mean, that sounds awful, doesn't it? A bit grabby, but I'm very happy to help people. But
Well, that's it. It comes at a cost.
but I thought, well, if I can do this, then
You might as well get paid for it, yeah.
why not do it as a job?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it's
Plus, I like it.
I think that's the important thing, isn't it? If you're doing something you like, and then you're, transitioning that into a business. I mean, that's probably everyone's ultimate goal, apart from them finding the realities of what running a business
you
is
straight
like.
in the face. Yeah, well, find a job you love and you never work a day again, someone told me.
So how did you actually make that transition? Because there's practical things, isn't it? I imagine there's a level of income that you've got coming in from your old work. You've then got to start from scratch and build everything up. How did you find that? Because that can be stressful in itself.
I had a mental note in my head of when, luckily, I had the money to put down a deposit on a house, which was lucky enough. I didn't. If I'd have bought a house, that would have meant I'd had to have stayed in the industry I was in to pay the mortgage to do this, etc., etc. And it wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough to buy a house for a deposit. And I had a mental note to myself: when the bank account goes below X, that's when I have to panic, and that's when I need to go and look for another job.
Yeah.
About 6 months later, the bank account went below X, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And I thought, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll set a new limit now because I'm nearly there. I'm getting there. I'm nearly there." And I've changed my cut-off point about 3 times, and then eventually I was like, "Oh look, that's an order." And that's another order.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 2 in a month. Right, okay. And then it's 3 the next month. And it gradually picked up. But it's strange because I've gone from something which, the reason I'm here is because my mental health sort of drove me towards this or directed me towards this. And actually, the job I'm doing as a one-man band is probably the most terrifying thing I've ever done. And 2 months ago, I was online looking for new jobs, thinking, what can I do for a living? Because it was so slow business-wise. Yeah. And there are patterns throughout the year. There are definitely patterns. Yeah. But this is just slow in a point when it shouldn't have been slow.
This year has been different.
And I'm looking at sales jobs going, I can't, jobs that go sell Range Rovers for a living. It's like, no, I don't want to do that.
No.
Do I go and just drive a delivery van for people for a bit just to fill a gap in? It's like, I don't want to do that either. I want my business to work.
Yeah.
How do you feel about working on your own a lot?
I love my Apple AirPods.
Yeah.
Noise cancelling, brilliant for all the machinery. When you're working, if your phone rings, you can hear something. But yeah, I've always got music on in the background. I'm in a farmyard, and luckily there are 2 or 3 other businesses around me.
Oh, nice.
So I get a bit of banter.
Okay.
And you need that banter, don't you?
Of course,
Because otherwise,
definitely.
I think the worst thing with when I was doing business development, I was working from home and then out and about doing meetings. And when you're sat at home knowing that there's an office 150 miles away with 16 people in it, and you're just sat at home by yourself, turning on the heating on a January daytime because it's so bloody cold.
Yeah.
And it's just miserable as sin. It was horrible.
Yeah, you're not making your own language, clicking around the house.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you write out how many times can you wash your clothes and iron them. Actually, I don't iron, but
I was going to say.
Do you find if you're taking people round for viewings, how much emphasis do they have on the garden?
I think I was thinking about this on the way here, and I think because lots of people say the best time to see a property is on a horrible day like today, because it can only get better, right? So if you fall in love with it when you walk into it, the likelihood is you're going to love it on a nice sunny day.
Yeah.
But if you scrap the garden out of that, because if you walk into a really sunny garden or a really lovely garden on a nice sunny day, that can sell the house as soon as you walk into the garden.
That's it, yeah, that's right.
So I mean, I think gardens, especially with people like families with the children growing up, the garden's probably up there and one of the most important. Kitchen garden probably.
Yes, I was going to
inside,
say kitchen,
outside living.
yeah, walk-in wardrobe, and then it goes from there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is a rubbish garden something that's likely to put people off buying houses?
I don't know. It depends, I suppose, what agent you've got showing you around. A good agent will try and provide you with some vision to a rubbish garden, if you like. If, for example, you're going around a property that hasn't been lived in, it's been vacant for the last 2 years, our advice to the client would always be to get someone round to clear the garden and scale back, so that it helps us be able to give potential purchasers the vision to be able to create their dream garden or what have you.
Sure.
So if you've got an agent which is just a door opener, then it probably would put people off. But if you've got an agent that's kind of giving you the vision, then I think you're able to kind of help them out.
Get over that sort of problem. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what you want from your estate agent, isn't it? You want someone who actually give you some, what's the word I'm looking for? Some sort of inspiration to show what goes beyond the property. Yeah, that's it.